Morton Joe 245 here, and today we're taking a look at the Marvel Select Punisher, so stay tuned. Alright, so this is my first Marvel Select review. Actually, I have 4 other Marvel Select figures, which I'll show you here when I do a comparison. But so this is the Punisher, which is actually not my first Marvel Select, but I think it was actually my second, I believe. Deadpool was my first Marvel Select figure. I think then this one. Then I got Ultron. No, wait, man, I think I got Carnage and then Ultron, I think. But I'll show you all those when I compare these. So let's get started with his accessories. So the figure comes with 2 weapons here, which the first here is a pistol, which this is a 1911 pistol, and this is pretty cool. I actually like this gun quite a bit. It's actually got pretty good paint details on it too. It's mostly black, as you can see, but it's got the slide serrations, you know, your hammer, your sights, and you got your mag release right there, your hold open right there with where the notch where your hold open will go in right there. And see, the grips have brown paint on them, making them stand out from the rest of the gun. The hammer and the ejection port right here have silver paint on them, so that makes them look more. It makes them stand out, which is, this is pretty cool. I really like this pistol. And he can hold this in either one of his hands because he's got 2 trigger fingers. His second weapon is this AR-15 or M4 or whichever one it's supposed to be. AR-15 and M4 are almost the same thing, except the M4 is the military version, the AR-15 is a civilian version. The only difference is being this: the civilian AR-15 has only semi-automatic, and the M4 has a fully automatic setting. But as you can see, it's got the your foregrip right here, your very AR M4 sight right there, and now this doesn't have a rear sight on it, which in reality that would be kind of stupid. You can't aim without a rear sight, so I don't know. They should have sculpted a rear sight on there. That made that look a little more right. That looks to me that looks weird with no rear sight. Like maybe one of them old school like M16 ones with a carry handle one, or like maybe you could have like a scope or a reflex side view or something. Just something back here because there's a rail for like a rear sight. It's got a silver magazine, which is pretty cool. It's got some pretty black, some like dry wash on it, make it stand out. There's your bolt, not release, but what you hit with your hand to make the bolt go forward. Here's your bolt where you pull it out. There's your this thing right here is how you clear malfunctions when you get a malfunction in here. This is your ejection port, and there's your flap that it's like a dust cover that you can open and close on it. And very cool. I really like this gun too. And he can hold this in either one of his hands. And the figure comes with this display base, which, as you can see, is very, very dusty. As you can see, because this has been on a shelf for a long time. I haven't moved it in years, so that's why it's got dust all over it. Which is now I got this off the shelf. This would actually be a good time to clean this thing. But as you can see, the bottom's pretty dusty too. And this is pretty cool. There's like a shelf there, and this says Matthew's Tavern on it. If you flip it around the other side, you can see Matthew's Tavern. And which you're going to display from this side because it's just a hollow piece on the other side. So I mean, you're gonna show this part because there's all the details is. And see, there's like some wood and some bricks on here. There's some like graffiti where people draw stuff on there, and it's got a wood floor, which is pretty cool. Now there's no peg on here. A lot of Marvel Select bases have pegs on it for the figures. Yeah, foot to go into, which the figure actually does have peg holes. So I don't know why they didn't put a peg on here, but as you see, it is very standard for Marvel Select figures. It kind of has a broke away piece right here where the floor would continue. Some of these actually go into other bases and make like a display, but I'm not for sure if this one does or not. But yeah, this is a separate piece. You have to actually put these together when you get them. Which this one, I don't know if you can pull it back apart. I mean, I ain't gonna try because I don't want to break the base, but still pretty cool. And when you stand the figure on it, you just kind of stand him there. He looks pretty cool on it actually. And finally, this accessory right here. Now this is really cool. It's like an old school pinball machine, and where it's got a criminal he has thrown onto this pinball machine. As you can see, his head has actually went through the glass of the pinball machine and made like a hole in it right there. And As you can see, this is your normal thug-looking guy, I guess, because he's got tattoos all over his arms, and uh, as you can see, just typical criminal, and that he has punished. And as you can see, he's got a grenade stuffed into his mouth, and the pin is laying on his chest there. So and you can see he's very scared looking because he's fixing to die with a grenade exploding in his mouth. But as you can see, he's handcuffed to the pinball machine, so he can't escape, and his legs are also tied to the legs of the pinball machine. So he's pretty much doomed. He's not going to escape anytime soon. You can see his belly's hanging out. He's got some hair around his belly button right there, and he's got like a red vest on, and which is very dusty because this has been on my shelf for a long time. And you can actually move the guy from the pinball machine, which I'm not gonna have to do because you gotta take all the legs off and everything to do that. But as you can see, the top of it is also very dusty, and there's actually because you can see where one of my figures was standing on top of this. I had my red guardian stood on top of this pinball machine and displayed for a long time, and it's the first time I've actually moved him in years. I mean, I put him up there in 2015, and he stood up there ever since. So it's the first time he's ever moved. And like I said, this would be a good time to actually clean this when I got it down. But still, I really like this. This is a really cool display piece. Now for articulation, sadly the articulation on this figure is very crappy. He's got a ball joint at the head there, which is pretty good, but it doesn't really articulate down very far. He's got a single swivel at his shoulder on each arm. This one's kind of loose right here, and he's got a little bit of a swivel at his waist there, which is hindered by his web gear, and that's about it. There's no knee articulation, no boot articulation, no nothing. Just a few swivels and a little bit of ball joint, and that's it. That's very, very crappy articulation. So let's take a look at the sculpt design and color of the Punisher, starting with his head. And as you can see, he has kind of a yellowish skin tone, and he's got red eyes, which looks kind of weird. Most normal people don't have red eyes. That looks a little strange. But as you can see, he's got his very Frank Castle haircut. It's kind of swooped back, and which kind of personal story. I remember one of my coaches when I was in middle school. When they done a Halloween theme dress up day for the homecoming, I think, and he dressed up as the Punisher, which was really cool. But as you can see, the shirt under there has got the infamous Punisher logo on it, which is really cool and not really detailed very lot. Usually he's got like the Punisher, like the teeth on the skull and everything, but this one's just kind of flat. But he's also got a big trench coat over his over himself there, as you can see, and which is also very Punisher to have the trench coat. And as you can see, underneath he's got some web gear, which would have been cool if he had a holster to put his pistol in, but unfortunately it doesn't. But you can stick in between this if you wanted to. But I mean, he's got two gun holding hands. I display a gun in each hand, and as you can see, aside from underneath from the black shirt and the web gear, he's got on blue jeans. And you can see it's got some black wash over him, make him look kind of dirty. And he's also got on some what I assume to be combat boots. They kind of look like steel-toed boots the way the toe is right here on these. But you can see it's got some pretty good paint detail on it. There's kind of like a black dry brush to go over them, which is pretty cool. So for comparison time here, as you can see, I have the older Marvel superheroes Toy Biz Punisher, which I think that Punisher is the one that's supposed to have the sound-making backpack. Which unfortunately I don't have any accessories. I figure I bought it pretty cheap, used at a comic book store a long time ago. And the other one over there is the Marvel Legends the TV version Punisher played by John Bernthal, which that was a pretty cool Punisher. I really liked that one, and which I've modified mine a little bit there. As you can see, it's got some stuff on it that he didn't actually come with, but I actually used his trench coat for a different figure, and because he didn't actually wear the trench coat very much in the series, so that's why I kind of have him modified there a little bit, and so, which I'll get into that when I do a review of that figure. So here's my other four Marvel Select figures that I do own, and which in the order that I bought them in. I'm not 100% sure if I can't remember exactly which order I bought them in, but I do remember Deadpool was my first one, and then Ultron was the last one I bought. So I either bought Punisher next or Carnage. I can't remember which one, but so as you can see here, Punisher looks like he's the shortest, while Carnage looks like he's the tallest. And Deadpool's a little bit taller than the Punisher, but Carnage is little taller than Deadpool, and Ultron and the Punisher look maybe about the same height. Maybe Ultron's a little bit taller than the Punisher. It's hard to tell. Now that Ultron figure has got some really bad loose legs, which I'll go over all that when I do a review on Ultron. But I gotta go find his base and stuff. It's somewhere in storage, so it might be a little while before I can get to him. But so that's all my Marvel Set figures I own as of now. So what do I think of this figure overall? Yeah, it's not bad. This is actually a pretty cool display piece, but as an action figure, I don't like the articulation. It is very bad. It's very unposable. There's not really much you can do with this figure. It's just except having, I guess now unless maybe you got one of his arms up holding one of his guns. But I mean, other than that, I mean, you really can't get him in a cool pose. So that's a big downfall of this figure is the lack of articulation. But with the cool accessories and the base and and the pinball machine with the guy playing on it is a added bonus. So it kind of helps make up for the lack of articulation. So if you like this video, and give me a thumbs up, to help me out a lot, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until next time.